Today I'm going to be showing you how to make chicken gnocchi soup in the Instant Pot. Hi, I'm Karen Peterson, owner of the blog 365daysofcrockpot.com. I share Instant Pot and slow cooker recipes with you for every single day of the year. You're going to love it. Visit 365daysofcrockpot.com to get lots of Instant Pot recipes and tips and tricks. Every Tuesday, I like to come here to YouTube and show you a recipe or some sort of thing about the Instant Pot that I've figured out over the months that I've been using it. Today, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite recipes. It's chicken gnocchi soup, and it's one of the most popular on my website. People love it because it's creamy, it has chicken, it has bacon, it has pasta, and it's just a family favorite. All of my kids love it. And it even has a little bit of kale in it, so a little bit of greens for you. Before I get to the recipe, I'd love to tell you about my Instant Pot Facebook group. It's called 365 Days of Instant Pot, and you can find it on Facebook, and I'll also link to it in the notes below. But basically, we just share recipes on there, tips and tricks and advice about the Instant Pot. So if you love your Instant Pot, you're gonna love the group. I also would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Please do so by clicking on the link that I have in the notes below. If you're on a mobile device, just click the title of this video and it should pull up all of my notes that I share with you, including the link to the printable recipe, as well as the Facebook group, as well as how to subscribe on YouTube, and a lot of other helpful things that I put in my notes for you. So let's get to the recipe. I know you're gonna love it. Chicken gnocchi soup in the Instant Pot. Let's go. We're going to start the chicken gnocchi soup by pushing the saute button on your Instant Pot. And it should be on the more setting. If it's not, you can use the adjust button to change it. As the pot's heating up, we're going to cut up some onion. When I'm cooking soup especially, that's going to have a lot of like scraps from the vegetables, I like to just have a little handy, what I call it is a garbage bowl, and that way I can just put anything that needs to go in the trash in that bowl instead of going back and forth to my trash can. It's just a handy little tip for you. All right, we're still waiting for the pot to heat up, and so we're gonna go ahead and mince our garlic. I like to use a garlic press. It just makes it super fast and easy. You don't even have to peel the cloves of garlic. So I'll put a link to my garlic press in the notes below. Once the pot says hot, we're gonna add in our oil. Teaspoon of olive oil. And just swirl that around so it covers the bottom of the pot. And then add in just your onion, not the garlic yet, or else it will burn. Go ahead and stir the onion. Just get it coated with the oil really well. We're gonna let that saute for a couple minutes. Once the onion is starting to get really soft and translucent, go ahead and add in that garlic. And garlic burns really quickly, so we just wanna kind of stir it around just for maybe 20 seconds here. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and pour in 5 cups of water. And then I like to use the Better Than Bouillon chicken base. This is the one that I use. And it is the roasted chicken base. And I'm using 4 teaspoons of that. I get mine at Costco in just the big jars just because I use it so often. But you can find it at a lot of stores. You can also find it online. Now we're gonna need 2 medium carrots. I already peeled these. And I'm just gonna do a nice little chop. You can also finely dice them, you can grate them, whatever you prefer. I like to store my celery in aluminum foil. It keeps it nice and fresh, and it keeps it crisper for longer. So I need a couple of celery ribs. I'm going to cut these into 1/4-inch pieces. Today I'm going to be using just frozen chicken breasts that I have from Costco. You can also use boneless, skinless chicken thighs. It's up to you, really. I'm going to add in 1.5 pounds, which for me, in using these big ones from Costco, is usually 2 chicken breasts. And I'll add those straight into the pot frozen, and it's going to be just fine. Now I'll add in the spices. I have a teaspoon of dry oregano, 2 teaspoons of dried basil, a teaspoon of dried parsley. Then I'm going to do 1 bay leaf. Little tip for you, if you have a Winco, buy your bay leaves in the bulk section. I can buy a whole bag of bay leaves for just a couple of pennies, really. It's so cheap. So I'm going to add in 1 bay leaf in there. Gives it lots of flavor. And then we'll do a teaspoon of kosher salt and a teaspoon of black pepper. So go ahead and put your lid on. Make sure this valve is set to sealing. And we're gonna set the time for 12 minutes. Oh, first you have to push the off button to take it off the saute mode. Then you push manual. And I'm gonna do 12 minutes because the chicken was frozen and it was about 12 ounces. So I wanted to, that's just a good rule, is for how many ounces the chicken breasts were, that's how many minutes you'd put on. Once the pot gets to over 10 minutes, you can go ahead and move the valve from sealing to venting. Okay, while that's releasing all the pressure, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I cut kale. So you're gonna wanna take your kale leaf, and the bitter portion is really the stem, so you're gonna wanna make sure to cut the stem off. So I just cut it like, make a cut there, and a cut there, and cut that stem off and toss it in the trash. Then you can go ahead and chop it or slice it, cut it however you like. I'm gonna do a little bit thinner. I like the thinner pieces rather than big chunks in my soup. But it's really up to you and what you prefer. Once you can, go ahead and remove the lid. Go ahead and get the chicken out and place it on a cutting board. Before we shred that, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the gnocchi into the soup. So this is the package that I got. I got it at Smith's. It's like the Kroger Market or Private Selection brand. And it's a pound of gnocchi. And gnocchi is just basically little Italian dumplings, and they are delicious. So, but they only take a few minutes to cook. So we're just gonna, we didn't pressure cook them because they would get mushy. So we're gonna turn this to the saute button, push off, and then turn it to saute. And then we're gonna add this gnocchi in here while we're getting the chicken cut up. These are gonna cook. I'm gonna add the entire package. And you know these are done when they start floating to the top. So it should only take 2 to 3 minutes in boiling liquid for these to cook. I like to use these shredding claws to shred my meat. I got these on Amazon for $6. I'll link to them in the notes below if you're interested. But they just act as a way to kind of shred the meat. You can also cube up the chicken into little bite-sized pieces if you don't like it shredded. I've warmed up some half and half, and I like to warm it up so that it doesn't curdle. I also like to just kind of put in a couple spoonfuls of the hot soup into the cream so that it doesn't curdle, and it can kind of just warm up gradually instead of it being shocked when you throw it into that pot of boiling liquid. Now I'm going to add in the kale that I cut up. I did about 3 large leaves. Stir in a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. I like a thicker consistency, a more creamy and thick consistency to my soup, so I'm going to use cornstarch to thicken it up. What I like to do is make a cornstarch slurry. And I just do this by putting about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch in a bowl with 3 tablespoons of water. Stir it up until it's smooth and there's no lumps in there. Once it's smooth, you're gonna just throw it into the pot with everything else. Gnocchi are floating to the top, so I know that the gnocchi are almost cooked through, and the soup is getting thickened from the cornstarch. All we have to do now is add in our bacon. Crumbled up 6 pieces of bacon, and I'm going to go ahead and throw that into the pot. Doesn't that just look scrumptious? I hope you love this soup as much as we do. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next week. Join our group on Facebook, 365 Days of Instant Pot Recipes. And I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel. See you next Tuesday.